So team, as the Director of Peak Pathway, the course creator and facilitator, I guess I just wanted to get you to get to know me a little bit better. Obviously we'll be spending some time in our coaching sessions, both individually and as a group. So we'll get to have a really strong rapport with each other as we go through the process. But there is a link to my bio about my career, where I've been, what I've been doing. I'm actually filming this at the moment from my coaching space in downtown Manhattan, which in itself is a dream come true. It's something that I wanted to do in 2017. I had some ideas and some concepts that I really wanted to push forward. At the time I was living in Perth, Western Australia, and I had 9 of my own fitness and high performance strength conditioning facilities. I had a sports management agency. I was working in athlete development across a number of different sports with Olympic athletes, professional athletes, and was doing a lot of work in baseball, which is a sport I dearly love. I'm a former professional cricket player, although I only did that for a very short period of time in my life. In terms of, it took forever to get to that point in my mind, but I could only do it for a little while because my actual career was finished with an injury, a very unusual injury that really knocked me off my axis and mean I had to pivot into a whole other career if I wanted to be successful, and that was at the age of 23. That career was as a strength and conditioning coach. I initially worked in fitness, and I've been in the fitness industry since 1998, and then was full-time fitness professional from 2002 right up until this year. So I've been doing it for 25 years. I've had a great deal of success. When I first started in fitness, I was told I'd never make more than $13,000 or $14,000 a year, and then as fitness got I guess more organised and more structured, and there were more qualifications available. You can earn $35,000, and I think my first year I earned $28,500, and before I left Australia to migrate to the United States, my company turned over just a touch over $3 million. So in that time I grew a business with my wife, who's my best friend, who I've been married to for, at this time, 17, nearly 18 years. And we share a beautiful boy who's 14. So we have a family that we've built. We've had a life that we've built. We've had businesses that we've built. And that business grew from working with people in the park through to 9 different facilities. As I mentioned, with the sports management agency, athlete development, consulting work. We had an education arm to the business where we were qualifying other trainers to become trainers, and we qualified over 474 trainers in a 5-year period, who many have gone on to have very successful careers with their own clubs, their own businesses, and doing great work for people with their health and their wellness, as well as making a lot of money, which is what they deserve for the effort that they put in. The education business then took me into the creation and management of a diploma business, where I then became the COO of another company, and I also sat on the board of a listed company. So I also had as being the CEO of my own company with its employees, I also ran a national company and had board and chair people responsibilities. And I had, with my wife, we had our own charity. So we had our own not-for-profit business called Care Through Fitness, which was at the time the very first organisation to work with special needs, particularly individuals on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. And that was started in 2007. And that was the first program of its kind in the world, we were told, through some independent university studies. So we've done a lot in a relatively short space of time, given that I'm 44. But probably the big thing to know about me is my very first coaching accreditation I received in 1993 at the age of 14. It was a level 1 cricket coaching accreditation, which was, and looking back at it, I've never not been coaching from that time on. Coached junior cricketers, junior teams, and then created my own cricket academy, which helped to develop 17 different international players from 9 different countries. And just coaching has always been what I've done, whether it be fitness, skills coaching, mentoring, being a director, a company director, CEO, whatever few digits or whatever few letters were on my business cards at the time, as I've grown older, become quite irrelevant. It was always about coaching. So coaching is not just what I do, it's actually who I am. So as I mentioned, in 2017, I really wanted to come to New York. I felt I had achieved all I could with my career in Australia. I was going more down a corporate road, which although it was enjoyable, probably wasn't really fulfilling me in my own purpose. And then I started to work, with high-performing professionals, not just athletes. I started crossing over the same mantras, the same processes, routines, the same teachings of how to be a high-performing full-time athlete, in a highly selective, cutthroat, sporting environment, which equally mirrors, working in the corporate world. So I started to transition that in 2017, and then hatched a plan to eventually come here to the United States. Particularly, I fell in love with New York City on a holiday in 2012, and so sitting here in my consulting room, which is across from my wellness studio in downtown Manhattan, is an absolute dream come true. But it wasn't just something I plucked out of the air. It's something that I planned. It's something that I visualized. It's something that I worked to manifest. Having a 40-year-old life in Australia with businesses and employees and family, the extrapolation of that itself was a year-long strategic plan which was executed. It had many ups. It had many downs. So for me to be sitting here, where I am today, so excited to be delivering this to you, isn't the full story. I've had a long and difficult battle with mental health, which was situational and acute through different periods, loss, grief, family members passing, close friends passing, just life, as well as the stress and pressure of work and travel. I used to travel 3 days a week, flying around the country, and maintaining my responsibilities as a husband and as a dad, as a son, as a brother, as a CEO, as a company director, as a mentor, as a coach, I take very, very seriously, to the point where it really broke me physically and mentally. So I lost my wellness, I lost my mental wellness. I have had difficult dips in my mental health due to pressure and stress and anxiety. And I've really had to rebuild myself, physically, from the injuries I sustained in my sports career, through to mentally, through the loss of my mental wellness, and my inability to deal with stress and anxiety at different stages of my life, and have found very strong vitality and spiritual practices, as well as with wellness, sleep, nutrition, to really forge myself into someone who I'm proud of, someone who always looks to be better than they were yesterday, someone who is abundantly grateful for being right here, right now, who takes nothing for granted. I don't get too high with the highs, I don't get too low with the lows, I just don't get carried away with anything now. I am blessed for the life that I live. I agree and believe in the fact that tomorrow is promised to no one, so therefore I want to make the absolute most of today. I have tremendous processes and routines that keep me healthy physically and mentally. I am very proud of that. I feel strong enough to share it with everybody now. And really the driving force behind this course and the books that I've written and how you've come to me has been the fact that I've had friends who have not been able to get themselves back to where I am personally, and we'll all know someone who has had a difficult battle with this and has unfortunately either maybe not with us anymore, or potentially just is a shadow of their former self, and therefore it may have missed the opportunity to reach their full potential. So my mission in what I do professionally and personally is I help people to actualize their highest potential at this time. And not just when you're on a roll and you're winning. I tend to start with everyone when they're on the downslide and they've hit rock bottom, or they've got a sequence of losses. that's where we learn ourselves the most, and where we can find ourselves the best. So that is a little bit about me. There's a lot more. You can look through the bio of the timeline of everything I've done. Some people find that really, really interesting. It is interesting, I guess, because I've had a very interesting life, and that's something I'm acutely proud of. But it's still not really about me nowadays. It's about helping others. That's the big one. And whether you're on fire or you are dead cold, I'm here to help you be at your best and help you to stay at your best forevermore.